Dear colleagues, we are very happy to welcome you to this session. We will be probably disrupted a little bit by the people who will be entering, because today is a special morning when people arrive with luggage, etc. And we will also have a little bit of time constraint because we need to finish sharp at 10:15. But we are going to try to uncover a very interesting topic. And we know that there has been a mental and policy shift from insolvency to prevention, early prevention. And so supporting the SMEs before the actual moment of distress, let's say, and before the actual risk that when it materializes, it's very important. So in this room, we have experts who have done some remarkable job and who would like to share this practice. We will let them speak very short, so it will not be long speeches, but they will be resources for you to discuss later, and I'm sure many of you know them already. There are many familiar faces in the room. So let's start with setting up the policy context. Very briefly, I would like to invite to this stage Lucina Kaminska, who represents the DG GROW, the European Commission, and who is the policy officer behind this initiative supported by the European Commission, Early Warning, Mentors Academy, and the concept. Yes.
Good morning to everybody. I think that you deserve a special award for being here early and being present and make it after a late evening. First of all, I would like to say that insolvency frameworks are a very important element of the business environment. And we consider as an efficient insolvency framework the framework that provides for prevention of insolvency, so early warning tools, efficient and quick insolvency proceedings while the company is filing for insolvency, and then after insolvency proceedings ends, the proper solutions for the second chance, which means predictable and relatively short discharge of debts. We started working on mental shift, as Olena mentioned, to go from liquidation culture to rescue culture. 10 years ago, there was no mention of early warning tools or mechanism in the EU legislation. In 2014, it was the first attempt when the Commission proposed the recommendation in 2014, new approach to failure and insolvency. Of course, insolvency laws are very different in member states, so it's remaining still one of the least harmonized laws in the European Union. And then, from that moment when the recommendation was put forward, we have realized that it wasn't taken on board sufficiently. That's why in 2016, the Commission proposed a directive on preventive restructuring and insolvency. So then we had a stronger legal tool in place. And in that directive, we had in Article 3 provisions for early warning mechanism and provisions for second chance, which means the discharge from debts has been limited to maximum 3 years, while before it was, in some countries, it was unlimited time or 10 years, whatever. So that was a big change in that respect. So that was a legal framework, but we supported it from also soft tools, which means we created a project that had as an objective helping member states to establish efficient early warning mechanism. So in parallel with the proposal for a new directive, we came up with the project, which was called Early Warning Europe. Some of people in this panel were very much involved in the implementation of that project. And we had a 3-year project involving many member states and a Europe-wide organization that were trying to develop a blueprint methodology on how efficient early warning mechanism could look like for member states to pick it up and implement it. Some of them did it closer to the shown example, some less, but at least we did a part of the job in that respect. Then it was also, and that was actually chronologically, it was the first project that was supported also by the Commission in implementing the Article 3 of the directive. It was called PRESOLVE, if I remember correctly. So it was legal framework with the support measures. Now we have Early Warning Europe Mentor Academy as a follow-up of these two. And then in the middle, it was, as you well know, from yesterday's, Reste Eve, which was a sort of little brother, if I or sister, of the Early Warning Europe project. Now we are in the process of negotiating with the Council and the Parliament a new proposal for a directive that would provide small businesses with quick, cheap, and easy, simplified procedure for small enterprises and help them to get orderly winding up, even though they don't have assets to finance the court costs. So we will take off the companies from the limbo. I think that I will stop here. Time is limited. I will give the floor to the panelists, and I wish you a nice morning here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, dear colleagues, as you can see, we are dealing with an initiative that has the backing from the policy side, from legislative side, and we all would like to have a very effective ecosystem to support enterprises in general, and especially to provide them this cuscinetto, as we say in Italy, this support system when they are facing risks. And one of the very important ingredients or elements of this ecosystem is having competent mentors who would be able to not only be competent themselves, but also would be able to collaborate among themselves, would be able to share their knowledge, their resources, and would be able to tune their own skills and competences to the specific needs of the enterprises that are at risk. And so we wanted to show you a little bit how this element of the ecosystem works. And we all have this experience that ecosystems, functional ecosystems, work when the people involved in them, they might be not so organized, perfectly structured, but they would be having the common vision, they would be driven by the same goal, and then they would find the common elements to move forward and to really propose themselves as a resource for the others. And then things will sort out by themselves. So we will hear the secrets of how this sorted out in this initiative. We are presenting to you Early Warning Mentors Academy initiative, and to give this a bit introduction of another important partner who has to align its work with the mentors is the accountant, no? So I would like to give the floor now to Paul Gisby, who is the Director of Professional Services Accountants Europe. He spent more than 25 years as an accountant acting solely in respect of SMEs, and has spent more than 10 years emphasizing the importance of SMEs to the European economy and discussing with policymakers how to help them grow. So, Paul, your 5 minutes. your chance to
Thank you.
tell us.
I shall not talk too quickly. Thank you very much, Elena. Good morning, everybody. I hope you feel a bit fresher than I do at this moment. And thank you very much to the organisers for inviting Accountancy Europe to speak at this. As an accountant, I feel like a bit of a gatecrasher at a mentor's party, especially after last night.
That was intentional.
But I do believe, and Accountancy Europe does believe, that accountants have a very strong role to play in early warning. It's something that's important to us. We produced a paper about insolvency risk management in 2021, and our members recently asked us to do more on this topic, and hence our presence here as part of it. So why are should accountants get involved in this? I would like to say the first thing accountants should do, and what I would say here is, if any of this doesn't sound familiar, ask for more from your accountants. Don't just assume they're there just to do statutory filings and stuff. So a lot of business failures are purely down to, a lot down to bad planning. So accountants should be involved at an early stage to ensure that a business plan is realistic, that you have the right source of financing, sufficient financing, that you have adequate financial systems in place to know what your resources are, and you have adequate control systems in place, for instance, for debtor collection. And this is something that accountants should do. And it would help stop a lot of business failures. Accountants can also help with particular risk pressure points, startup, business expansion, take over another company, and also general ecosystem challenges. At the moment, we're very, very involved in trying to work out the impact of SMEs of the supply chain downfeed from large companies having to comply with the CSRD, the Sustainability Reporting Standards, and this is a big problem. So, and this is especially the case as financial education in most countries is very poor. So make use of accountants in this. We're also translators of legislation. We know the relevant business information. We also tend to have closer relationship with our clients and other professionals, and also other clients in the same industry. So we know the general background as well. Utilise that resource. We also, another strong resource for SMEs is we have other professional relationships with other specialists. We can't all be specialists in everything. For instance, I did a basic training in insolvency law as part of my professional qualification. All the really useful stuff I learned from a close relationship between our office and an insolvency practitioner, and I learned a lot from that I could then give back to my clients. Both in the point of view of actually advising them if they were under stress, and also advising them what was available in the legislation, for instance, corporate restructuring, personal insolvency, to protect their businesses, save them if we can do, but also to protect personal assets as well. Very important when you have a family business. But also, accountants are, auditor means listener in Latin, apparently. So accountants are there as a rational sounding post for the client. So please use this. We listen, we analyse, we should suggest, we should question. And some of my regrets is that I didn't question with my clients enough when they were taking over businesses, for instance. But obviously, when you're in a situation where the business is in financial distress, then emotions run high, and then the whole process becomes much more difficult and much more important. So, for instance, an entrepreneur may keep looking at the small signs of recovery, but really not see the bigger picture or the real problem that's coming towards them. And often, by the time they realise that, it's too late to really do anything about it. But you do need special skills. You need special skills to handle these sort of crisis situations. And this is why Accountancy Europe wholeheartedly supports the Early Warning Europe mentoring programme. We tell our members that this is a very good thing. And we hope that our members will tell their members, the accountants on the field, to actually start developing these skills so that they can also sit down and help businesses even in the crisis phase. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Oh, wow. 9 seconds.
So, dear colleagues, Paul mentioned something very interesting. He said emotions go high, So, in that moment, we could keep in mind that accountants and mentors should be aligning their actions, should be working in partnership, so that one would help another. And also, collaboration becomes a very critical element of this ecosystem. I would like to move to Morten. Let me present Morten. He's Secretary General in the Early Warning Europe Network, with the responsibility of consolidating the early warning mechanism in existing partner countries and facilitating its rollout in new countries and promoting its integration of the best practice into the relevant policies and strategies. He's manager of Early Warning Denmark and experienced trainer. The question would be, Morten, what is the role of Early Warning Network in this whole context? And this movement in Europe, and what is the role of fostering a collaboration between mentors, and how collaboration works in your view? Your 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you, Elena. Well, I think you said it all. Not much I can add. No, I mean, across Europe, there are organizations that support entrepreneurs and SMEs at moments of their life cycle when they cannot pay for services on market conditions. And that's one of our most noble tasks. You know, we're not spending taxpayers' money on competing against for-profit services. Rather, we aim to put the SMEs back into the market where they can pay advisory services such as from Paul's organization. Mm-hmm. And why even help them? Isn't this just a matter of survival of the fittest? I mean, they got into trouble in the first place. Why don't we just let them fall? I would say, you know, apart from considering that this is about jobs, it's about people, there are families behind these companies, then it's also a really good business case, because, you know, when a company goes bankrupt, it must go to court for an in-court bankruptcy proceeding. That costs a lot of money, and in the end, there are only the taxpayers to pay for this. And let's not forget that there's a knock-on effect of every insolvency. I mean, for every one job lost in a bankrupt company, there's about half a job lost in other companies. These are very often also SMEs, so it's a domino effect, and it's a domino effect that we can stop. And that's what we're trying to do. So there's also, you know, when a company needs to close down, if the trouble is too deep, if we come too late, there is also this difference between like an orderly, transparent, structured closure and the kind of explosion effect where you don't know what happens next, and people take crazy decisions and so on. So there's a lot of savings for everyone in doing what we do. There's different setups in different countries, but the mindset is the same everywhere we go. I mean, it's about having a system for these businesses in difficult times, because if you can't survive a crisis, you can't grow when the crisis is over. That's the simple the simple way of explaining it. And business mentors, they play a key role in these operations. They have expertise, sector-specific knowledge. They have, you know, geographical insight and so on. It would be simply impossible to pay for this on market conditions. So they are the crown jewel of what we do. They are the real key to success. And there is a need to build on their experience in countries that still don't have these systems. Mm-hmm. So it's very much a peer learning system from country to country around Europe. And there is plenty of good experience out there. Now, as you said, I represent the Early Warning Europe Network. We're a little bit everywhere, but we are not the only organizations. There are other great initiatives around Europe that do the same thing. And for these networks to actually work and be effective, I mean, there's a need to integrate and coordinate. There's not much fun in having found the golden nugget if you don't share it, if others don't learn from you, and so on. And you have public agencies and business associations providing great services, but if they do it in parallel, there will always be this loss of knowledge, of efficiency, and in the end of money as we go along. And that's why we need these ecosystems for the entrepreneurs in trouble. And that's where the business mentors are a great asset, because they bring all these things. And why do we do it now? That was the other part of your question. Well, I think early warning service operators across Europe, they're busier than ever. It's not a secret for anyone which direction the economy is heading, and they need all the good mentors that they can get. That's why we're really grateful to the European Commission for launching this initiative, and rest assured we'll follow up on it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, we have been talking about mentors. So let's try to portray the mentor. And we understood already that this chemistry, this collaboration is working quite well within this very interesting group of people who present themselves as mentors and those who stand behind the mentors and their skills and competences. And I would like to move to Eleni, who is sitting just next to us. And to present her, I would like to say that she's a leader of the peer learning workshops of the Early Warning Europe Mentor Academy. She works as a project coordinator in Family Business Foundation in Poland. And Eleni is a medical doctor, certified business trainer, international business coach, and health and wellness coach. So you can talk to her about all these things after the session. And she has over 25 years of experience as a trainer. Wow. So let's try to portray the mentor. So the question would be, Eleni, how does it work in practical terms? Why do you need to focus on mentor skills and competences? What is it special about training or preparing mentors as compared to other entrepreneurs or support people?
Thank you, Elena, for this interesting question, and thank you for having me here. Let me show my magic slides. Okay. Yes. I think that probably everybody in this room have and had some experience or contact with business mentoring. Is it a good question? Did you have any contact with mentoring? Super, great. So I think that intuitionally you feel the definition of the mentoring relation. You know that it is, the relation which consists of two persons. One is experienced company owner, and the second one is an employee, or just another not so much experienced company owner. And both sides can benefit from this relation. But of course, the light of this lighthouse is on the mentee. And thanks to the mentoring process, the mentee can discover his potential, skills, identities. And of course, they together, they can find the innovative solutions for the challenges and of course for some problems which exist in the situation. So this is the normal situation, and when you will imagine the mentee, you see a young person, very motivated, ready to work, self-confident, and ideal mentee. But unfortunately, it is not the case in mentoring in crisis. We have the mentor has to face completely different picture of mentee. So first of all, he sees a person who is completely demotivated, who is really in a huge stress, who is tired, can't sleep, can't eat, is worried about everything, see the dark scenario of his future. He's completely lost. He's looking for solution, in addictions, alcohol and other things. First of all, he's completely alone in this process, completely alone, because troubles doesn't have friends. They don't have friends. So he is completely alone. So we can say that this is not ideal mentee. But still, we can find some persons who are ready to work with these people, so these heroes. But we have to equip them with a special attitude, knowledge and skills. So first of all, their task is to save the person, the human being. Because, we can close the business, open another one, but we can't do it with the person. So our mentors, they have to have the knowledge, they have to understand how the individual reacts to the change, how he behaves in the grief moment, what is he feeling, in this situation, and they have to have the expertise to save the company, but it is the next step. First, they have to have the basic psychological knowledge, how to understand the reactions of our mentee. So we need to make them aware of the situation. Why our mentee reacts like this in the stress situation? And of course, we can offer them and develop their skills. And I will use the skill set, yes, done by our colleague Agnieszka, who is our mentor. I love this definition and this summary of the skills. So you have to imagine our mentor like a normal human being who have different organs, and he has to use them. So first of all, thank you, they have to use their brain,
Support from the partner.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. The brain. Yes, thank you. The brain, to give the expertise, but also they have to use their life experience. Especially if they have the failures in the past, it's very good. They have to have the heart, just to read the emotions and to give the empathy. They need to use their senses, eyes, to see what mentee can't see. And they have to need the ears, for active listening, to listen what was said, but also what was not said. Mm-hmm. And on the end, hands to do the job, but also to hug the mentee when it's needed. And the legs just to go together through these troubled waters, together with mentee, so not to leave him alone. And later on, they can save the company. I have one more slide, but to do it, they need to have, the passion and motivation. And we asked them about the motivation, and they said that the most important motivation is that they want the fact that they want to return back to society all these good things which they received. So I think this is a heart of the mentoring, and we have such heroes, a lot of them in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was thinking that when you mentioned the heart,
Yes.
I think this is something we cannot bring into the job if it's not there. So I think when choosing the mentors, it's important to already choose the people with hearts in place. And then they could develop the skills and competences, and I'm sure it's all possible to develop. And at this point, I think I will move to Dana. And we kind of, the logic is that we portray who is the mentor, how the interaction is going on. But now let's look a little bit into the skills and competences, how they could be developed through not only the process of initial preparation of mentors, but also through the continuous support to mentors who will then be able to provide support to the companies at risk. And let me present Dana. Maybe I don't need to present him, but he's a president of PEEP, PEEP, in Portugal, working on evidence-based policy making in education reform and on economic development. He's a senior fellow at the Institute of European Studies at the University of California, Berkeley, and the lead educator of the Early Warning Europe Mentor Academy, which brought us all here. So Dana, the question, very simple. Not simple to implement, but simple to ask. What is special about continuous upskilling of mentors? How is it happening in this project?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Eleni, and this has to be one of the best prepared panels. I don't know if it's evident, but that would be on our side, but thank you so much for being such a wonderful moderator.
It was easy.
So I think this question about upskilling, this is a constant, this is important for all of our mentors. They want to develop their skills. They're interested in how they can be better mentors. This area of Early Warning Europe in early warning mentoring is really a key transition. And as Luciana said, it's really about transitioning from this previous mentality on insolvency and really focusing on failure to focusing on recovery. And so a lot of our work on trying to support mentors and their competencies is around that. Then there's the other aspect of the skills and tools that they need to use. So we have our online program, which has about 8 or 9 different tools that we provide. Then we also have a lot of information about how to do early warning mentoring mentoring. But then there's the other aspect, which maybe I'll mention a little bit more deeply in the next part of our conversation, and that is how to localize that knowledge. Because as a European initiative, we cannot talk about the 27 member states' specific legislative processes, et cetera. So we need to come up with some sort of way to reinforce these sort of skills and help the mentors learn that knowledge themselves and really support them. So it's a really wonderful process. The project has the pure learning side, which is very important because they want to understand. Many of our mentors are very senior business people who have experience throughout their career and now are applying those skills and talents to helping these companies at risk of failure. And then we also have this other aspect of looking at new aspects in which they may not be familiar with, supporting some of the psychological issues. And then we also have the process through which people need to go. So it progresses, our learning program progresses through that. We have an online program, but then we also have master classes. And these master classes are a great opportunity to listen to an expert in the field, a lead expert on a specific topic. And that topic is then discussed in group, and we reflect on that, and it really keeps everybody motivated. I'm very happy to say that we have a very high retention rate. About 80% of our learners go through the whole course that register and start our program. And it's really from the partners and from the really great sort of facilitation also that we have. And so I think the aspects of skills and competencies are those that develop over time and then through reflection get better.
Fantastic, thank you very much. This is, when it's working, so there's nothing to do about it. And when the good practices need to be shared, all of us hear a lot about best practices, good practices, and I personally have an experience that good practice, once it's written and put on the website, becomes part of the cemetery of good practices, which nobody really reads ever or reads, and what does it say, the written text? But the only way to share good practice or successful practice is to talk to the people who implement it, because we are never able to replicate exactly the same thing that the other people did. But what we can do, we can talk to them about our problems, our challenges, our needs, and together we can resolve our problem by learning from them together. And at the end of this line, there is Agnieszka, who everybody in this group said that we need to let her speak, because she made it work in Poland. This was a successful implementation of this concept, of this approach in Poland, and she will have only 5 minutes to explain how and why. And let me just present her, because I need to finish the presentations. So Agnieszka is the experienced mentor, business controller, and managing partner of her own enterprise. So she's an entrepreneur herself. She has been designing and implementing decision support system for executives in enterprises at various stages of development. She works with Family Business Foundation in Poland, and we will let her respond to questions. How did she make it? Did they make it work in Poland?
The Family Business Foundation?
Yeah, the case of the.
Okay, so I can start.
Sure,
I suppose. Okay. It is true what Eleni said, that it's a really different situation to work with entrepreneur in a good condition than with the entrepreneur in crisis and in distress. I had many opportunities to work with entrepreneurs in distress during Early Warning Europe project, and after the project finished, because we still cooperate with the Family Businesses Foundation with entrepreneurs in distress. I want to tell you today about my latest mentee. She's the owner of the City Spa, and I started to cooperate with her about a year ago, and I still help her to find herself in a very difficult situation and changing environment, business environment. Let me show you the spa. Mm-hmm. The City Spa is located in a big city in Poland. It's located in the center of the city in a beautiful historical building where the hotel was to be opened. The owner is very good educated. She hired very well-educated staff. And she started this business in the middle of pandemic, in the December of 2020. Additionally, the investors withdrew from the project of building a hotel, of opening the hotel in this building. And additionally, the authorities of the city started to rebuild the whole city center, so there was really hard to get to the city spa. The revenues were growing, and the owner, but the owner was not pleased with that because the revenues were not so high as she expected, and she couldn't allow to pay all of her bills. So she decided to ask for help of a business mentor. So as I said, the problem was that the city authorities started very huge reconstruction of the city center. The COVID, the revenues not enough to cover the costs, and withdrawal from the project of opening the hotel. So I started to prepare the plan for restructuring plan for my mentee. We prepared an agreement with the creditors to reduce the debts and to prolong the terms of payment. We had a lot of workshops with manager, with the owner, with employees, how to organize the work better. We recalculate all the prices, recalculate all the direct costs to make the margins higher. We also try to organize the work better, to use, to sell the unused machines, to use the rooms which were unused. And what we have achieved. We have more clients in December last year because we try to organize some actions to get more clients, but we still have not any idea how to expand the sales funnels. Of course, the direct cost decreased, so the margin increased. We have more effective structure, so the indirect cost also decreased. The owner starts to manage the cash flows, and it was really very important for her and for the business. We also we are thinking still of moving to a new place because I'm still working with my mentee, and of course we started also to talk to investors just to buy some time for my mentee to develop the business. So I am a business controller, as you have heard. So I have many hard skills. But to work with a mentee in distress, I have to have also soft skills. So thanks to Early Warning Europe project and Family Businesses Foundation, I was trained to have some soft skills to work with, with the mentee in crisis. It's really important for me as a mentor to work with another mentors, of course also with accountants, because accountant, for me, it's the best person with the knowledge of the firm, usual. But in this case, I found some issue in accounting too, so it was not the right person to work with. The big network of mentors are very useful for us mentors because I am a business controller, so I know the finances. But I should also build with my mentee new structure, new strategy for marketing and sales. And I don't know how to do this. So I asked for help, any other mentors, specialists, even psychologists, because my mentee needed a therapy. Summing up, helping maintain crisis needs hard and soft skills. And it's very important that we can have the help of other mentors and specialists, and also a kind of supervision of our ideas and solutions. And of course, as Dana said, we have to learn all the time. So this project, I'm taking part also, it's Early Warning Europe Mentor Academy. It's very useful for us. Thank you.
Thank you. So we presented to you the people, and we presented the parts of the this process which they are responsible for. Let me just do another thing, a small blitz of a couple of questions to Dana and Morten. And by the way, I have a disclaimer. I'm looking into my phone, not because I'm checking my emails, but I'm not using handwritten notes since long time, so it's my way of digital literacy. There was mentioning, Dana, the importance of financial literacy and financial skills, for example. There was a lot of time mentioned that soft skills, or for example, communication skills, or critical thinking, or all these very mysterious concepts that are part of key competence, and including the entrepreneurship key competence, and also life comp, and then the digital competence, and also some specific specialized skills, professional, occupational skills of mentors that they have to possess. Could you summarize quickly what are these 1, 2, 3, 4 key skills and competences the mentor should have? And maybe a couple of words, let me merge two things to save some time for the audience to ask questions. So what are the ways to develop them? 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Nice question, huh? Very
I'll try to
simple
go
one.
quickly. No, I mean, actually, we have the queen of entrepreneurial competencies, my colleague and friend, Ellen McKellen, and I'm very proud, an Entracomp champion last week. So, thank you. So I think the project has taken good practice from other good practices in Europe. So we look at the Entracomp community. We look at other communities of practice that are building digital skills. So these are all different skills, as you mentioned, LifeComp. But I think the real challenge for us was, again, going back to this question of how do we look at skills and knowledge that needs to be very specific to the country in which the mentor is operating. And so this is a real challenge as a European project. So in doing that, we actually went back to our mentors. We went back through the peer learning workshops and that Eleni leads, and we asked them to help us develop, try to understand some of the skills that they need and the knowledge that they need. So where are they getting this knowledge? What's the sort of knowledge that a new mentor needs? And then very interestingly enough, experienced mentors use that also to benchmark their knowledge. So this is something that's really helpful, where it's not just for new mentors, but also for experienced mentors. And if we're able to have this balance and have a mentor academy that speaks to all parts, I mean, for sure, an experienced mentor who's done early warning mentoring previously will go through some of this and will be a review. But for new mentors, a lot of this is really new material. And that can be, when we define new mentors, we're talking about perhaps mentors with experience, but not in early warning. So we give these specific skills, we talk about specific areas of knowledge, and then we try to reinforce that by having a discussion with others. Because as we know, we all like to learn from one another, and so that's part of the sort of secret of how we're able to reinforce these competencies, not just looking at the sort of references that the European Commission has come up with, but also developing our own knowledge from our own mentors and the community So it's very community driven. And I'm very proud to say that the learning program is also now being community driven. So we have a bunch of experts that have great skills in this area, who are just references. I mean, I can call up Morten and he's like an encyclopedia of this stuff. So, and Eleni and others. So the thing is, how do you transfer that and get it so that it's not just an encyclopedic type of knowledge, but it's really something where everybody feels that they have some skin in the game, that they are a part of it. And so we're really trying to learn. Now we have volunteer facilitators in our master classes. We're now using volunteer experts. So it's not just the members of the expert group that is a part of this initiative. So that's what I think is really the secret sauce, is to try to get everybody involved and share and develop the knowledge together.
Thank you. What I'm taking from what Dana is saying is that, first of all, it's look inside yourself and look into the others. So learning from peers, looking into the ways to continue improving your own competences throughout the life. And also it's important to do what you preach. So if you don't possess the competences that you are trying to develop in the other people, it will not be true. So people will not believe you. So it's first of all constant self-development, self-driven learning throughout our lives, and including the personality, who you are. So it's very important to present yourself. You remember Professor Saraswati was saying in her opening speech that look inside yourself. But what I'm taking from here is the community, is the resource persons around you. You can learn from all of them and be open to learning, and also making these resources available to the others who are not yet part of the community, but who might think of joining and doing similar things, and look at us, do it like we do, and do better than us. Morten, we started from the ecosystem. So we said that everyone has a role, and there is a certain very important role of mentors that we try to prove in this panel. But mentors are not isolated, so they have to be connected and have to be supported, and support in return the other business support structures and systems in place. So would you give us just a couple of insights of how does it work? Mentors and the support systems around enterprises and enterprises in risk in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are already good examples across Europe of organizations that offer this sort of advice that we're talking about here, but without using mentors. And then there's the other set of examples of organizations that use mentors, but for different purposes. And it's not a big step to integrate these. Here in Spain right now, we're working with a regional business support organization in Catalonia that already has all these functions. Plus, they're generalists, so they know about retail, construction, hospitality, and so on. Adding mentors to work like this is such a natural step. A couple of years back, we helped a similar system in Finland get underway. Public-private partnership, teaming up with the National Mentor Association, and in a very short time, you actually have a very functional model. So this is very possible. What do we need? We need the network, as in these examples, and then we need some basic, secretary functions around them, because managers and specialists like Agnieszka, they want to help companies. They don't want to do paperwork. Mm-hmm. So you need someone to do the paperwork for them, to pick up the phone when the entrepreneurs call, do a quick screening, or what kind of company is this, what problems affected, and so on, and then put the company to the right mentor as a matchmaking. Then you need to supervise, you need to quality control along the way, and then you need continuous capacity building, because the world's not standing still, and we need to stay on top of things. If you think you're a retail expert, well, then you get platform economy, then you get e-commerce, and so on. If you don't stay tuned on these things, then you won't be a very good mentor. So because the mentors work pro bono, they don't make any money. what's the fuel that drives specialists like Agnieszka? Well, you already said it, learning from your peers, networking, competence development, and so on. That's what we need to give to keep the mentor community alive and keep developing it.
Okay, thank you very much. We have now left 5.5 minutes, and we will really need to leave the room, but these 5 minutes we could use effectively. Let me see, are there any questions, quick questions in the room? 1, 2, and I have a question from here. So if you promise to be quick, we will go with these 2 questions, and then we will leave, 3. Okay, the questions have to be really quick, not speeches, okay? That's very important. Yes.
Okay. I come from Croatia. I come from Croatia. So maybe to Martin. I come from Croatia. We have established a network of mentors who are retired entrepreneurs based on the good practice from the Netherlands, from the Soundboard. And we are, I think, all persuaded by the usefulness of mentors. And you talked a lot, basically about this process between mentor and mentee. What I'm worried about and what we need help with is actually on the sustainable business model of the organization who is doing it. So do you share practice about, between countries about that? Because we really need that kind of insight. Thank you.
Okay, let's take the questions and you think about the answer and then we go quickly with the answers. Second question, yes. Okay. There is a courtesy process in the room, yeah.
This was fascinating. Thank you, all of you. I am from Cyprus and we're leading an accelerator program whose biggest value is mentoring. And in doing that, we have partnered up with the MIT Center for Technology Innovation. So naturally, we have been using a lot mentors who have been giving pro bono mentoring to the scientific teams in Cyprus who wish to commercialize their innovative research. And one led to the other. The second thing we did was to reach out to the Cypriots and Greeks of the diaspora in the US. And my question is, as I have confidence that the diaspora, not only for Cyprus, but for the rest of Europe, could be extremely valuable in offering mentoring to our young ones, I was wondering whether you agree with me and if you have been pursuing that in your efforts.
Okay, very interesting game going on because it's 3 minutes left and we have one more question. I think that if your question will last more than 1 minute, we will not have answers.
Very quick. I'm from Malta. My question is, how far away are we in terms of deployment across Europe? Like how many countries are already covered with this kind of services and how many should continue to do? And also one thing, sometimes we really need to make entrepreneurs aware early on about the potential later of getting into that situation. How far in advance do you raise awareness about this? Because it might be too late when they are kind of, at the bottom and distressed and with the alcohol, as a crutch.
This was a question for a separate panel, but I think what we can do, we have 2 minutes, very quick insights, and what I understand, these are cooperation questions. And next step questions. These are questions, what's next? So please try to let the people in the room know, and also online, how they can learn more and cooperate around these questions. That's my proposal.
Sure. May I?
Morten, yes.
First of all, to you, Mirella, sustainable business model, yes, taking into account local characteristics and an individual assessment, and very much also the state of mind of the mentee. You can think that as a mentor you have the perfect plan for this company, but if the mentee is not able to implement it, then you've got the wrong plan. So we have to individualize a lot. So yes, there is good knowledge to be drawn across borders in Europe. It always comes down to a very individual assessment. Diaspora, no, we haven't actually, and it's true in some European countries that there is a big gain to be made from that. It's not something we've dealt with.
This is the next project, I think. Potentially.
Next project. Let's do a project together. Anna Maria, how early is early enough? I would say the moment a company is no longer able to pay just, the first bill that it falls behind with, that's where we should get there. Alert systems, some countries have them, others don't. Europe is not uniform at all in this way. And some of these alert systems, to be frank, they don't work. How many countries have early warning systems right now? 15, and 4 more coming.
57.
Yeah, Eleni, please add, please
And
please
37
add.
then.
Yeah, I would like only to add that we have 37 countries in AVEMA project, so more than in the European community. And I think that the first alert is also accountant, He can say, this is the red light for you.
And if I just may, I mean, since I study public policy and European policy, I mean, I think that this has come in lightning speed. And we're talking about addressing an issue, a cultural issue in Europe, that diaspora is very ready to take risks and deal with failure, but we're dealing with a failure in this project and trying to change that. And this is in less than 10 years from going from legislation, so Lutzena and Magda Klein, our support staff who's supporting us through the agency. I mean, this has come in and been going through very quickly to help address this need. And, this aspect of changing the idea and the perspective on failure is key, moving from insolvency to helping companies at risk of failure.
Super, thanks. As you can see, this project is still living, still working, still going on, so you can cooperate with them, you can learn more from them. And I was actually saving the time. I didn't know if I will have time to present myself. I'm Olena Bech, and I am a senior manager of the European Training Foundation, and I'm leading the team which is working on innovation in teaching and learning. I have been working with entrepreneurial learning and competences for more than 15 years, I think, by now. Okay, with this, we would like to thank you for being here, for finding time, and please continue talking to our experts. Thank you.